All right, so some more polynomials. So in the last video, we talked about adding and subtracting, and today we're going to talk about multiplying. So the question you'll have is, would you rather have French fries or chocolate cake? And let's jump into some examples. So 3.2, multiplying polynomials. When we are multiplying polynomials, you are going to multiply every term from the first factor and every term from the second factor. So what that means is what you've seen before or heard before is FOIL, and then I'm also going to show you the box method. So let's look at FOIL first. So again, we're going to be doing FOIL on this side, and then we'll do the box method on the other side. So I'll go ahead and label both. I personally don't care which method you use, as long as you're comfortable with either one is good for me. I will say FOIL is going to be more handy when you get to upper math classes and as you go along into more advanced problems. So for this one here, if I'm looking at FOIL, we're going to take our first ones, so this x times x, and you're going to multiply them. And I'll write it out. So we're going to be doing x times x for that pink, which would give us the x squared. Then the next one you're going to do is x times the negative 4. And every time you change colors in this case, or you're doing a new one, it's going to be adding. So we have x times negative 4. And that would be a plus negative 4x, or we could just write minus 4x. And I'm going to go ahead and do that. So again, that became plus a negative 4x, which is the same as subtracting 4x. Then we have this 3, and we have to do that to both terms as well. So the 3 times the x, and again, we're going to do plus 3 and then times x, which is going to give us a positive 3x. And then the last one, we have the 3 times the negative 4, so plus 3 times negative 4, which would be plus a negative 12, which is the same as just minus 12. Okay, so now we've FOILed in the sense of we've multiplied each thing by each first term by the second terms. And so let's go ahead and just focus on this one now. So we have everything here. We've combined, we've multiplied, and now we need to check if there's any like terms, which in this case there are the negative 4x plus 3x. So I'm going to bring everything else down, the x squared and the minus 12. And then minus 4x plus 3 is going to be a negative x. I'm going to rewrite that because that's a little bit too spaced out. So x squared, and then we said minus x minus 12. And this right here is our final answer. So that's FOIL, and then box method is you're going to use a box and FOIL it with a more visual way. So you start with a box and then you write the terms up here, so x and a positive 3, and you can write the positive next to the 3 if you want, and then x and then minus 4. If it's a negative, you definitely need to write it. And now we just multiply with the box. So we would do x times x, which I'll write kind of small up here. So we get x times x, which is x squared. And in this box, you're doing the 3 times x, which gets you the 3x. X times a negative 4, so negative 4x. And then 3 times negative 4. And that gives you negative 12. And then you write all these terms out. And if there is no sign, like this one has no sign, it's a positive. And if there's no sign here, it's a positive. And then you just write the negatives in there. And then you would do the same thing as we did here, combine any like terms we have, which are these two. And so we get x squared, and then 3x minus 4 would be negative 1x minus 12. And you can see that we got the same answer either way. So this is more visual, and then this is just doing it. And you have a little bit of a visual with the arrows. So that's the two ways you can do it. And now I'm going to go ahead and just have you try all of these. So pause the video and then try, and then check your answer. So I'm going to recommend trying the first two, and then you can unpause and check those, and then try the next two, and so forth. So here's the first one, and I did FOIL. Then the next one, I'll go ahead and do the box method. Okay, so I did the box method there, and I got my answer here. And then this one, I'll go ahead and do the box method again. And so right now I'm just laying it all out, and then I'm just going to multiply. So 2x times x is 2x squared, 5 times 2x is 10x, and then x times -4 would give me -4x, and then 5 times -4 would give me -20. Write that out, 2x squared plus 10x minus 4x minus 20. Combine your like terms, 2x squared plus 6x minus 20. And then that's your final answer there. Now for this next one, you can still use the box method for this one, but this is kind of where I was saying that the FOIL might be nice to know or be more comfortable with. If you want to do the box method, you can. And so you would start by doing a bigger box, because you're going to have 2 here, but you're going to need 3 for that one. And you can also draw it like this too. I just prefer it the other way. So I'm going to put the x and the 1 here, and then I'll put the x squared plus 3x minus 5 on the top. Again, you can do it this way and have the x squared here, 3x here, and -5 here. One, I didn't have a whole lot of room, plus I just prefer it this way. And then you're just going to go ahead and multiply. So x squared times x would give me x cubed. 3x times x would give me 3x squared. -5 times x would give me -5x. X squared times 1 would be x squared. 3x times 1 would be 3x, and -5 times 1 would be -5. If you wanted to do it the other way, so I would still have to combine, but I'm going to show you the other way. So I would still do the x times the x squared, which would give me x cubed. And then I would do the x times the 3x, which would give me 3x squared. And then the next one I would need to do is the x times the -5, which would give me the -5x. And then I would just keep going. So I would do the 1 times x squared, which would give me x squared. And then the 1 times the 3x would give me the 3x. I'm going to run out of room here. And then 1 times -5 would give me -5. And then you would do the same thing as you would here and combine any like terms. So we have a x squared here and an x squared here. So we're going to combine those. So the x cubed is by itself, and then 3x plus 1x squared would be the 4x squared. And then we have a -5x and a positive 3x, which would give us a -2x, and then the -5. So either way, you would get the same answer. Okay. The next ones are something that a lot of students and adults sometimes make a mistake of, and that is they just start by going, okay, square this and square this. Well, if you think about it, if you did 2 squared, it's not 2 times this, right? It's 2 times itself twice. Or if it was 2 to the third, you would do 2 times 2 times 2. It's the same thing here. So this squared is saying that it is 3x plus 5 times itself again. So when you do this, you're actually going to have some middle terms that you wouldn't get if you had just said, okay, square this and square this. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. So we would first do our 3x times our 3x, which would give us 9x squared. And then the 3x times the 5, which would give us the plus 15x. And then the 5 times 3x, which is still plus 15x. And then the last one, the 5 times 5, which is 25. And then we would combine any like terms if we had them, which we do. So 9x squared plus 30x plus 25. And that is your final answer. So you can see that we would not have gotten the same thing if we just said, okay, square that and square that. So go ahead and try the next one and then check your answer. Okay, so now let's look at some application problems. So it says find the area of the rectangle that has the following dimensions. So we have the length of this and we have the width of this. And it wants the area of a rectangle. So if we remember, area of a rectangle is the length times our width. So we're going to take our length and our width and we're going to multiply them together. So we're going to do the 9x squared minus 3 and times the 2/3 x plus 7. And we're just going to multiply these. So when we do it, we're going to do the 9x squared times this. So we're going to do 9x squared times 2/3 x. And then we're going to do the 9x squared times 7. And then we're going to do the negative 3 times 2/3 x. And I kind of switched there and I should keep it consistent. And then the last one, the negative 3 times 7. So negative 3 times 7. And now we're just going to combine. So, or multiply, simplify. So 9 times 2 would be 18. Divide by 3 would be 6. So we have 6x to the third. And then we have 9x squared times 7. So 9 times 7 is 63. And x squared. And then negative 3 times 2 would be negative 6. Divided by 3 would be negative 2. Or you could see that the 3's kind of go away and you're left with 2. Either way. And then negative 3 times 7, negative 21. So this would be our area of the rectangle, and we would just put units. And that's it for that one. So same process, just with units. Let's look at this swimming pool here. So we have an image of a swimming pool here, and it says express the length and the width of the pool and walkway as a polynomial. So let's look at the length here. So the length, let's say, is this one here. So we have this entire thing. This whole thing is the length. This is the length of the pool, but it wants the length of the pool and the walkway. So I'm going to have this 10 meters that covers right here to right here. So I know I have 10 meters, but then I also have this distance that I need to add and this distance that I need to add that it has labeled as x. So I have two of those. I have 2x plus 10 as my length. Okay, and then let's look at the width. We have this whole thing, and we have the 5 meters plus an x and an x. So we have 2x plus 5. Now find those to find the area. So just multiply those. Go ahead and try that and then check your answer. So again, 2x plus 10 times 2x plus 5. So go ahead and pause and then check your answer. Okay, so if you multiply, you get 4x squared plus 30x plus 50, and our units in this case are meters. And that is it for 3.2 day 2. Thanks for watching, and I hope it makes more sense.